Thanks for joining us on this special edition of KGW News. I'm John Adams. More than a month since Boeing machinists took to the picket lines, there's a new offer on the table. Celine Stevens joins us from the newsroom. And Celine, you spoke to some people that were out striking today. What did they think about the deal?
John, so the answers varied from those people I spoke with today. That a contract ratification vote will be on Wednesday, where we could finally see an end to the strike if the simple majority of members agree. This morning, the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers announced a negotiated proposal and resolution. Compared to the September 8th contract, this time the company is offering a 35% general wage increase compared to the 25%. The ratification bonus has increased to $7,000, and as for retirement, there will now be a $5,000 contribution to an employee's Boeing 401k account. This comes just after last week when Boeing announced it will reduce around 10% of its total workforce, including executives, managers, and employees, as it deals with financial challenges tied to the strike. They also announced they'll stop production of the 767 freighters in 2027. IAM District 751 posted details about the tentative deal on their website and social media, stating the new deal is worthy of consideration.
No idea which way it's going to go. There's a lot of people out here that they're going to stick out until they get the pension. Me personally, more time off. That if I can make $1 million a year but have no time off, what's the point?
That machinist also told me after working for the company for 8 years, he only has 2 weeks and 1 day worth of vacation time a year. In a statement, all Boeing said today was that they look forward to their employees voting on the negotiated proposal. John?
Our Celine Stevens tonight. Thank you, Celine.
The mosque that he went to every single Friday without fail was the same place where this horrific tragedy occurred.
Well, today we caught up with the daughter of a man who was shot near the Islamic School of Portland. It happened on Thursday following an argument between her father and another man. Our Sydney Dorner spoke with her today and learned more about what led up to that altercation.
Amina Zakarne says her father is still in the hospital recovering from that gunshot wound. She says this violent incident is shocking to the Muslim community here in Portland and not at all a representation of their beliefs. Amina Zakarne says the Muslim community here in Portland prides themselves on being a safe haven.
Feel like you belong, where you feel like you are respected and loved.
Now speaking out for her family after her father, Michael Zakarne, was shot and injured in a parking lot by the Islamic School of Portland.
That is the direct opposite of what our religion calls for. And honestly, it is shameful.
Describing her father as a devout Muslim who often dropped off her younger siblings off at the school.
He keeps his faith very close to him, and it's one of the most important aspects of his life, if not the most important aspect.
Court documents state Zakarne and the suspect, 42-year-old Noureddin Dib, both had children who attended the same school and mosque. Zakarne told police they got into an argument while dropping their kids off at school. He says Dib gave him the finger and used inappropriate language in front of his children. He eventually approached him about it at a later drop-off.
My father just wanted to talk very calmly, and he explained that to him. He said he just wanted to talk, and then all of a sudden the man pulled out the gun and shot him.
Police found Zakarne injured at a nearby Shell gas station on Southwest Capitol Highway. Dib now faces multiple charges, including second-degree attempted murder and first-degree assault with a firearm.
I just want justice for my dad. That's all.
Amina says her family is incredibly relieved her father is alive.
He's a caring father. He loves my little sister. He just wants to hold her. He just wants to hold my little sister right now.
Reaching out for support as her family worries about her father's medical bills and ability to return to work.
That is what we need right now. And additionally, just thinking logically with everything that we're going to have to be responsible for financially, it's going to be difficult.
We have the link to the Zakarne family's GoFundMe on our website, KGW.com. As for the suspect, Noureddin Dib, his attorney entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. Monday, he is scheduled to appear in court to discuss the release conditions. Back to you.
All right, Sydney, thank you. And new tonight, one person was taken to the hospital this morning after a shooting near downtown Portland. It happened around 6:20 a.m. near Southeast 12th and Pine. Portland police tell us one person was detained and they're not looking for anyone else at this point. Portland's major crash team is working to figure out what caused a fatal accident in Northeast Portland. One man died at the scene. Officers responded to the crash around 10 last night at Northeast Columbia Boulevard and Lombard. They tell us the crash involved a sedan and a semi-truck with a trailer. The driver of the sedan was killed, but the semi-driver was not hurt. Well, a team from the Oregon State Fire Marshal's office is on the ground in North Carolina to assist in the cleanup efforts from Hurricane Helene. The team is taking over incident command in a mountainous area just northeast of Asheville. The group typically responds to wildfires here in Oregon, but they have assisted in hurricane recovery as recently as 2022. Even though Helene hit the area in late September, the Emergency Operations Center in North Carolina says 90 people are still missing and many communities are still inaccessible. We spoke to a firefighter from Clackamas County who made the trip. This is how they described the devastation caused by the storm.
You have to imagine 50 feet of water coming down. The description is where there was a creek, there was a raging river. So anything that was built or located near any kind of body of water that was moving, there was an enormous amount of water coming down in those 3 days, washing everything out.
The team plans to be on the ground in North Carolina until the end of October. Well, turning now to our weather here locally and taking a live look out over Portland tonight. We've seen rain here in October, but our weekends so far have been dry and it's been nice. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri is joining us now. Joe, is that trend going to continue into Sunday?
The first half of Sunday will be bone dry, and then by the later part of the afternoon and evening, we'll start to see our next system move on shore, bringing in widespread showers that'll kind of spill over into parts of Monday as well. Right now, we're seeing a temperature of 63 degrees, so we stay dry overnight tonight and into much of tomorrow. So if you have any outdoor plans for your first part of your Sunday, it's going to be pretty nice with a little more of that sunshine. Again, that front arrives. Timing is late afternoon to the evening hours tomorrow and into Monday. One more mild day, much cooler next week. And when I say mild, we'll be looking at daytime highs tomorrow right around 70 degrees. And that's basically what we saw earlier this afternoon. Currently out the metro area, we're seeing temperatures in the upper 50s at this hour, 59 over in Forest Grove and along the Oregon coast at this hour. Temperatures are very comfortable. Over in Astoria, Seaside, you're ready to wrap up your Saturday night with a temperature of 64 degrees at this hour. So partly sunny skies to start things off Sunday morning. Your sunrise tomorrow at 7:34. By midday, clouds will start to increase, and then by 5 o'clock, we'll be looking at temperatures close to 70, but expect to see those showers roll through, and the sunset tomorrow at 6:15. I'll talk more about just how much rain will be in the forecast heading into next week.
All right, Joe, the sunset's coming sooner and sooner. Thank you. No running water in a ceiling that's falling down. A tenant KGW met living in horrific conditions is now taking legal action. That Vancouver woman is now suing her landlord, claiming the property owners charged her money she didn't owe and added extra fees on top of that. Investigative reporter Kylie Boshi brought us this follow-up to his KGW investigation.
A Vancouver woman who lived in squalor with no heat or running water in her rented mobile home is suing her landlord. Casey Jewell claims the property owners unfairly charged her back rent, then tacked on extra fees before moving her into a new unit. Her attorney, Carl Snodgrass, is with the nonprofit Northwest Justice Project.
She's in a new place, but there hasn't been any accountability for what she went through for so long. The conditions that she was forced to live in. We
first met Casey back in February at a mobile home park north of Vancouver. The unit she was renting was falling apart and no one would fix it.
Think people should be living in these kind of conditions? No. Nobody should be living in this.
At the time, she had no running water. The heater had broken, the toilet stopped working, and there was a hole in the kitchen ceiling.
Because when it rains, it drips. It's like got all these buckets.
Casey and her son had complained to management repeatedly, but nothing seemed to change.
And when you got contact with that, they're like, oh, we better do something.
Our story, along with public outcry, prompted her landlord to find Casey a new place to call home, just around the corner. But according to a newly filed lawsuit, it wasn't a smooth transition. Casey claims before she could move, the landlord demanded back rent and tacked on extra fees that weren't in her rental agreement. The lawsuit claims the owners, Hidden Village LLC and Home and Parks LLC, violated several state laws by renting her a unit that was unsafe and didn't have running water for 57 days.
I hope tenants realize that they have rights, that you don't have to live in unlivable conditions. You don't have to tolerate that.
Well, TriMet is hoping some new security phones at MAX stations will help deter crime and make platforms safer for riders. The first active phone is at the Rose Quarter Transit Center. The bright red tower is easy to spot, along with the blue light on top of it. It's also equipped with a security camera. When you pick up the phone and press the button, you'll get TriMet security staff. A second security phone is set up at the Convention Center station, but it's not in use just yet. They plan to activate it early next week. And while most people carry cell phones these days, TriMet believes these security phones will still be valuable. Riders we spoke with like the idea.
I think it's a step in a right direction, like utilizing technology to accentuate like the security. I think is a good move because all the malfeasance out here.
TriMet hopes riders will use the phones to report suspicious behavior in petty crimes like graffiti or vandalism. When it comes to more serious emergencies or police matters, they recommend riders still call 911. A Portland church is showing its support of minority communities by celebrating them. Today, Bridgeport United Church of Christ held its second ever drag brunch and fundraiser. We spoke to Reverend Tara Wilkins, who told us this event was designed to respond to a wave of anti-trans and non-binary legislation that has been pushed by some lawmakers and religious groups.
There are many religious communities, including some of our sponsors and us, that believe in the diversity of all of creation. And so it's important that as a Christian community, we send a message that God loves everyone and that you are welcome here no matter who you are.
Since its formation, this church aimed to be a sanctuary for the LGBTQ+ community. Over the years, that's grown to include asylum seekers, people of color, and the homeless. There's a new option for people looking for a place to play pickleball. In Troutdale earlier today, we visited the grand opening of the East County pickleball courts. The 12-court, 36,000 square foot indoor facility is the largest of its kind in the state of Oregon and is temperature controlled year-round to boot. We spoke to the co-owners who said they hope to attract local players as well as those from across the region.
We are definitely East County girls. We both grew up here, went to high school out here, we raised our families here, and we continue to live here, and we want to support our community, provide a nice family-oriented business for our community to come join.
Well, tomorrow the facility opens for regular business, and they plan to introduce programs like pickleball lessons sometime in the future. Well, still to come, will Portland see snow this winter? We visit OMSI, where meteorologists gathered for this year's winter weather conference. Plus, for the fall lovers, Soup's On, the free community event held earlier today at Wallace Park.
Addiction and mental health struggles have hit too many families. I'm Andrea Salinas, and mine's no exception.
tonight's top headlines from around the world. In Cuba, back-to-back nationwide blackouts sparked by power grid failures has left about 10 million people in the dark. Experts say the blackout is one of the worst in the country's history. Cuba's president has vowed there won't be any rest until the power is back on. But a new hurricane on the horizon expected to hit tomorrow could only deepen the disaster. In the Middle East, in what Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is calling an assassination attempt against him, Hezbollah fired a deadly drone toward his residence, but it did not cause injuries or significant damage. It follows the killing of former Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar earlier this week. Despite this, warring parties have all vowed to continue the fight. And back in the U.S., gold futures on the New York Mercantile Exchange rose to a record high on Friday. It comes as gold has seen a surge of over 30% this year. Analysts believe that's due to multiple factors, including the Middle East conflict and uncertainty over the presidential election. Well, OMSI hosted its 32nd annual Winter Weather Forecast Conference for the American Meteorological Society today. The event was open to the public. Dozens of community members and local meteorologists attended the conference to share their winter outlook for the winter season. Noah Alvies is a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Portland. He shared we're in store for a La Nina climate pattern this year for the Pacific Northwest, which means cooler and wetter than normal conditions for the winter. So we asked, does this mean a snow or ice storm for the Portland Metro?
There are some La Nina years where we hardly get any snow at all, and then there's some years where we get a ton of snow. So it can be a mixed bag, but in general, if we're speaking generally, La Nina tends to bring higher than average snowfall.
You can head to KGW.com to learn more about what the La Nina winter outlook will look like. Years of a lot of snow, years of not a ton of snow.
That is by far one of my favorite weather conferences of the entire year. It brings out a lot of the meteorologists throughout the Pacific Northwest. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to make this year's event. But again, I think there's going to be a couple events potentially down the valley floor over the next couple of months. Not anytime soon, but again, like you just heard there from the meteorologist with the National Weather Service, you know, it can be good or it can be bad. Hopefully it's good for the Oregon Cascade. So here's a live look now from the Oregon Zoo camera with a temperature of 57 degrees. When I got in here earlier this afternoon, this exhibit with the goats or mountain goats. Got to be getting specific. These are the mountain goats exhibit out here as you walk in the entrance of the zoo. It was packed with people. A gorgeous day out there earlier this afternoon. A lot of sunshine. Temperatures topped out in the low 70s. It's going to be just a couple degrees cooler heading into tomorrow. Again, I am tracking that front that arrives by tomorrow afternoon and into the evening hours. And here's a look at that front. We're already starting to see some showers move in throughout parts of the Seattle area and throughout Puget Sound. But as those clouds start to increase, you'll start to really see the precipitation fall, I'd say by as early as 2, 3 o'clock. And then heading into the dinner hour tomorrow, we'll definitely see some green on the radar. So here we are a little before 6 o'clock tomorrow when you're all getting ready for the NFL game on NBC tomorrow night. I know John and I will. You'll be seeing some of those showers increase, and they will get pretty intense at times heading into the overnight hours into Monday. Some models are suggesting basically as this front moves on shore from tomorrow all the way into the early part of the week, we could be looking at well over a half of an inch of rain. That's true. That's obviously great news as we head into the later part of October. We actually are at a deficit. We're only seeing about 0.6 of an inch of rain so far this month. And as we go into Tuesday morning, there will be some areas of fog to start things off, and by the afternoon, a lot of sunshine. So let's look at the futurecast that's showing just how much rain we could be seeing over the next couple of days. This model is showing basically by the start of your morning commute, we could be seeing over a half of an inch of rain. Don't think it's going to be quite that intense, but we'll see what happens. But regardless, we'll be seeing those showers materialize throughout a good portion of tomorrow afternoon and into Monday evening as well. Anywhere from a half, maybe this model is showing 3/4 of an inch of rain. So far through the October rainfall amounts look like this: 0.60 inches of rain, and we're over an inch behind. So I think we can catch up, but yeah, we have only less than 2 weeks left of the month. But as we look at at the where we're at with the foliage out there throughout the state of Oregon, things are really popping over into the east side of the state. Meanwhile, you got to wait another week or two before you really start to see those full fall foliage here in the metro area. And this is what it looks like in a few locations so far over the last couple of days. It's starting to see some beautiful colors out there throughout much of the valley. So daytime highs today were in the low 70s. Again, I'm forecasting tomorrow to be just as comfortable in terms of temperatures, and the rain chances this week, they'll really start to increase tomorrow and into Monday, start to taper off heading into Monday night into Tuesday. But as we look at that air mass track, we will be seeing some drier conditions after Monday afternoon and really Monday night. By Tuesday and beyond, we are going to be seeing some more fall-like weather, but it's going to be mainly dry. So daytime highs tomorrow by the early part of the afternoon will be easily right around the upper 60s to the low 70s. And tomorrow, starting things off, a mix of clouds and sunshine throughout the morning hours, temperature of 48 degrees, so clear and crisp. And then by the afternoon, those clouds increase. I'm going with tomorrow a daytime high of 70 degrees. A big drop in temperatures, John, arrives heading into Monday with temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. Well, that's going to be kind of the common number a good portion of next week. But again, we stay dry a good portion, basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Next front arrives Friday night, so those Friday night football games will be wet, and then Saturday's going to be a little bit on the wet side.
And some very cool mornings
yeah,
too. It's
that's something we got to get used to.
Yep. All right, it's here. All right, Joe, thank you. Well, the cooler fall weather, perfect conditions to warm up with a nice cup of soup. That's part of the inspiration behind this community kettle that took place early this afternoon at Wallace Park. For the past 3 years, Friendly House has been holding this free event with the folk story of stone soup as its backbone.
As a community, we all have a little to share, and when we can, there's more for everybody. And it's about bringing together people of all ages, all backgrounds, our furry friends, and just having a nice, relaxing day of fun.
Well, not only was there food, there was fun for all ages, from a bounce house to a costume parade. Well, coming up after the break, the now second-ranked Ducks on the road Friday night at Purdue. Orlando is going to join us to see if they could be the new #1 when the polls come out tomorrow.
Ron.
Good, everyone. The second-ranked Oregon Ducks got their work done early this weekend, crushing Purdue Friday night. This was the definition of a trap game. Fresh off the biggest win of the Dan Lanning era on the road, short rest against a Purdue squad at the bottom of the Big Ten standings. But the second-ranked Ducks weren't about to mess around and find out. Scoring touchdowns on their first 3 drives, Dylan Gabriel completed 21 of 25 passes through 2 TDs and a pick, while the defense dominated this game, holding the Boilermakers to just 93 yards passing en route to a 35-0 victory, the Ducks' first shutout since 2012, and their first road shutout since 1992. No upset, no Spoilermakers, no letdown for the Ducks.
No better way, just hit it right on the run. So, felt really good about coming in Friday, playing this game, great atmosphere.
Yeah, glad to see our guys travel and put a game together. There's going to be a lot that we can go back and look at that game and say we can improve, but first shutout here for us in a long time. It's good to be able to execute that. We're able to run the ball in the second half. There's going to be a lot to build off of, but you got to be able to travel in the Big Ten, and this is a tough conference.
The Ducks now 7-0, their best start since 2013. They'll host 22nd-ranked Illinois Saturday, arguably their toughest remaining game. And speaking of rankings, when the Associated Press poll drops tomorrow, Oregon might be the #1 team in the nation. Meanwhile, in Corvallis, the Oregon State Beavers are on the field right now against UNLV, and OSU has a 17-6 lead in the second quarter. Highlights are on the way at 11. To Hillsborough Stadium, fresh off their first win of the season, the Portland State Vikings facing third-ranked Montana State, and the Bobcats are for real. Reeling off more than 600 yards of offense, rolling to a 44-14 victory to stay undefeated, while PSU drops to 1-6 on the season. Perfect day for football in Newburgh. George Fox playing host to Linfield, Yamhill County rivals out of the Northwest Conference. The 20th-ranked Wildcats controlled this game from start to finish. Blake Eaton, QB1 out of Crater, connects with Chance Sparks, the man from Hillsborough. Century High representing. He also had an interception. The Wildcats defense just dominant, holding the Bruins to just 24 yards rushing. Linfield takes it 47-7. That's 4 wins in a row, improving to 5-1 on the season. Let's kick it. Derby Day, Decision Day, Timbers at Seattle, and it has just gone final. It's a 1-1 draw. That means Portland secures the Cascadia Cup. We will break it down tonight on KGW News at 11.
Congrats to the Timbers, and I'm checking it right now. Georgia up 15 with 2 minutes to go.
I'm not going to jinx it, but yeah, if Texas holds on to lose this game, Oregon in prime position to be the #1 team in the nation when the polls roll out tomorrow morning.
Have they ever been #1?
They have, but it's been almost a decade, 2012, I believe.
Okay, and so, that was 2012, if Flex on their side, that's when they went to the national championship?
2010, 2012, so this was the Chip Kelly era, so now we're talking about a team that is in that world again. Pretty crazy to be a Ducks fan right now.
Exciting stuff. We are looking forward to this football season, and it has delivered so far. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here at 11.
Continue with us and watch free right now on the KGW Plus app, everywhere you stream.
Join us to celebrate Oregon's greatest sports legends. Come out.